Anyway, so the day came for us to move, and we had so many people show up to help us move with trailers and everything. We couldn't even utilize it all. We moved and returned the truck in an hour and a half. I'm not even kidding. It was the best move. It broke my heart all day. Like, I couldn't even get over it. I'm still stunned by it. I still can't hardly manage the thought of it. So there isn't even any question in my mind that I'm supposed to be here. Like, if any one of those people need anything from me, I'm there 100 times over. Like, absolutely. I will. They changed my life that day. I didn't know so many people could be kind and thoughtful like that. That's not been my experience of life. Anyway, changed my life that day. You know, I have lots of words for a lot of things. I can write, I can talk, I can do lots of stuff. I couldn't hardly talk. And I had to keep it together because I was really stunned. I was really stunned. And as, you know, strong as I try to be, stand up for myself kind of stuff, you know. They didn't even know what they did that day. I don't think. But you know, some people grow up with kindness in their life. And I don't know how it all works. I don't know why some people get kind things and kind people in their life naturally and other people don't. You know, I always thought it was my fault somehow. But that's not what I got. That's not my lot in life. And I've tried not to complain about it, but just to carry on and keep doing it and be kind to other people, you know, just because I know how important that is. You know, just to be kind to people. Sometimes I'm not exactly outright kind because the best I can do is distance myself because I don't want to cause more harm than good. I'm not perfect by any stretch. You know, right after I got divorced, I was so sad and brokenhearted. And it was a long story, but all the people that I thought were my friends were not my friends, as it turned out. And they had no idea what was going on behind the scenes, like none. And I was just really sad and lonesome. And I had to, you know, start my whole life over again. And I hadn't seen or talked to anybody for weeks. And I walked my dog to the grocery. Because, you know, I didn't live that far and it was kind of rural. And so I just walked my dog to the grocery store. And I didn't see anybody. And I was going inside the grocery store and this lady smiled at me and I just started crying. I was like, wow, I didn't even know I was that emotional, you know. She just smiled at me. So, you know, some people don't even ever experience that. I mean, some people do, obviously. And, you know, my experience is people say they're going to do one thing and then they do whatever they want to do. And then you suffer the consequences of that. So when all these people showed up to help us move, and not one of them complained. Not one complaint. Everybody was so kind and asking how they could help. And just, it was amazing. So that's some of what's happened this last year. And I'm still, you know, I've moved twice. One of those moves was 1,000 miles. So I've moved twice in the last year and a half. So I'm not quite exactly all settled into my world. And I've gone through a ton of changes this last year. Ton. Things I can't even verbalize yet that I'm not quite sure or quite aware of. So my guy and I are in a better situation than we ever were, though. So that's benefit. I have these new friends, kind of new friends. Now they're not so new, but still new in the scope of where I live. I mean, people live here their whole life, so sorry, I make a bunch of noise. There just isn't enough time in the day to hang out with all these new friends, which I love dearly. And I have to say, too, that it's kind of a different feeling like you're wanted in an area that you're actually wanted and thought of. We went to this dinner the other night, and I was really surprised at how many. I walked by somebody and they go, "Hi, B," and I was like, I didn't quite recognize them, and I was like, whoa. See, I'm still even getting used to people like in different clothes. I was like, who is that? How do they know me? And then it took me a minute, and I was like, oh yeah. He gave me manure for my garden. Like, you're so dumb. How do you not remember stuff? I don't know. I was just caught up, I guess. I don't know. But it was like, it was very lovely. I like being thought of and considered and asked to do things, even if I can't always do it, because, you know, I work a lot and I try to work a lot. I don't always, but. So there's the angel. So that brown color where her halo is the discoloration of the soap, and that'll be interesting to see how that evolves, because see, it's starting to discolor. It's discolored here a bit. I might plane that off anyway. And so yeah, so this last year has been really interesting, and I'm just settling in still. I still don't have like a functional routine of how I'm doing things or uploading videos or whatever. And this last month has been sort of a lot of upheaval too, and just stuff, you know, life stuff. So, you know, trying to function with grace and kindness and all those things. You know, I'm super imperfect at that process. I'm sorry, I'm making so much noise. I have so many things over here. Let me put some of these things away. Anyway, but, you know, I just wanted to catch you up, like a long sort of catch up, so you kind of get, and I don't have to, you know, revisit. And I haven't really shown you too much of anything in the last couple of weeks. And I prefer, you know, I know a lot of people. First of all, YouTube is a gift. I'm grateful I have a place to put things up. That's one. Two, they censor. We know that. So that makes me reticent to talk on camera. Three, I make zero money from this channel. None. This is everything that I put up is a gift to whoever wants to listen to it. And just a way of communicating. It's not commerce based. It's not about that. So, you know, believe it or not, I don't really like to talk all the time. I talk to my guy, and I like to be quiet during the day. And I'm not always successful in my own house. Sometimes I talk too much to him even. But I go through periods of talking and then just being super quiet and wanting to do quiet things. And I have more quiet times than I have talk times. And so, because I have that, and I'm, you know, doing this and being quiet, I don't necessarily want to make videos because if I don't really have anything to say, I'm just not going to fill the space. And so that's why I'm giving you a big old catch up. I'm not that person, obviously, figured that out, that is just going to make a video every single week, whether I have something to say or not. I'm not interested in that in any more than if I show you a soap that just to make soap. I'm not going to do that. I'm trying to inspire and reach out to people that are in that same place, that, you know, I just want to see something fun. You know, I don't want to be told how to see the world or any of that stuff. I just want to see, you know, something fun and inspirational and all that kind of stuff. And that's kind of what I'm doing. And I can't be that way all the time, obviously, but that's why I don't show every single soap that I make either. But I really love this dog. I mean, it takes a minute to get your head around it, but I love the dimension and how the dog's looking over its shoulder. I just love it. And so I'm leaning more into, okay, so this is a full-size stamp. I don't have it in front of me, but it's a full-size square stamp. And then these are the smaller stamps. I'm leaning more into these for a couple different reasons. One, they travel really well, and two, that they can go from small to large. So on a bar, here, let me show you. So I stamped these bats. Oh, here's my other point. Okay, so if you can see, there's a raised spot right here. Those raised spots crack because this side was too hard. And then when I stamped this was perfectly soft. This is wet. So I didn't get any of these, that raised portion on here. So this is what a full-size stamp looks like. It's about this big. I pulled one over. They look like this. Okay. So those can go fill the whole space of the soap, where these can just be in the corner, or they could be on a sample. So I'm leaning more into these because I just like these a lot more, and I'm thinking that I just think that they're a bit more fun and easier to use. Maybe not easier isn't the exact word I want to use, but anyway, I'm leaning over there. Plus they cost less, so that's helpful. So I'm trying, but you know, gets really tricky because, wow, this is so munged up. I have so much soap in here. I thought I scrubbed it. That's what I get for not using my glasses every time. I'll go scrub it again. But you know, so you can see the little details in here. In order to tell the story, because that's what a soap stamp is some form of story. In order to tell the story of this soap stamp, like, so I have to give enough components, not make it too cluttered. See, look at how tiny, you can see that came out, how tiny that little candle that she's holding came out. Like, that takes a lot of effort and work. And it's not just like, oh, I'm going to go buy a line art or something and I'm going to just duplicate it. I mean, some of them I do, like this one I didn't do anything to. It came that way and I was like, yeah, that'll be a great stamp, and I love mushrooms, that'll be awesome. Or this guy just came that way, this little kitty cat. The artwork was perfect for a stamp. But some of them don't come that way, and I have to fiddle and finagle. Here's a great example. This one and these two. I worked on these. This is, believe it or not, took me a really long time, and I can't tell you how many dragonflies that just don't work. But this guy, oh, I'm so happy about that. And see how much detail. I don't think, even if I wanted to include the tail and, you know, make it just a bit smaller, I don't think that would work out because there's just too much detail in there. But this one, that has to be a bigger one because it just does. Anyway, so it is tricky. It's not like you could just, you know, you certainly could do that, but you're not going to get a successful stamp because the stamps, you know, there has to be enough space and whatnot. So anyway, and it depends. It really depends on what you're looking for. So, but this one's a little bit trickier. So if I just try to smooth this whole thing out, which I'll just show you, I'll mung it up if I have to. I'll show you how that works. So I'm just going to try and smooth this out because all these little ridges, I'm going to drag so much soap dough of the hard bar across the colored parts that it's going to destroy the stamp. So I have to be a little bit ginger with this, and I'll show you. It's not that complicated though, but you can't just like drag it hard wise. You got to kind of drag it a little gently just to smooth it over, and I'll show you what I mean. Okay, so let's use this guy. And I put water on it because it keeps it soft. So I'm going to scrape the rest of this out, like in between these lines of the snowflake. This snowflake has been such a troublesome thing. I knew it would be, but I think I finally achieved it, and I'll be ready for next year. I know most people aren't going to want a snowflake stamp now that once Christmas is over, people usually lose interest in the holiday ones, but I'll have worked all these out, so next year if you decide you want one, you can get one for next year. But there's still winter. I mean, we're still in winter, so I don't know. But you know how soaps, cold process, take, you know, some people say 6 to 8. I usually just use 8 weeks as my window. I let them cure for at least 8 weeks. Okay, so I don't know if you can see this. It's kind of rigid and whatever. So what I'll do now is I put some more water and then clean that off first. Good night. Use the flat part of this to smooth it down. So instead of going like this, I go like this to smooth it down. Okay, and then keep it clean, otherwise you drag more stuff on top of it that you don't mean to. Okay, and then I run my finger across it to feel it. Oops, when my fingers aren't wet and slippery. There. And I'll go through and bevel the edges and clean those up. I just do this right now because I probably, oops, take pictures of them and stuff. Show you what it looks like. So stencils are awesome for making details and telling different types of stories, because some things can be made into a stencil and some things can't be made into a stencil. And I have hundreds of stencils out there too right now. Stamps are also awesome. Now that, okay, so you can see it's kind of blue. It kind of takes on the color of that. Stamps are awesome too because they won't wear off as fast as a stencil will. Stencils are just topical things that you put on, and they cost less. So I try to offer a variety of things. So before I go, I'll tell you one more thing. There is a company in China that decided that they want to copy everything on my website. And I'm not kidding. They basically duplicated my website, and that was time consuming. So I have filed a bunch of stuff about that to the appropriate channels, so you don't have to do anything. Sorcery Soap is fine, and we're safe, and your purchases through Sorcery Soap are safe. That, as long as you don't go to their website and purchase from them, you're fine. But there are thieves out in this world. We know that for a fact, as our government is a great example of that. And so nobody's probably going to do anything about this situation. I'm just going to turn into a pain in their butt. That's what's going to happen. So, and they might give up eventually and move on their merry way to steal more stuff. But what they do, so we made the decision. We had a long talk about it. And one of the things that they do, so let's say you hypothetically are going to go to their website and try and buy a Sorcery Soap product. Well, Sorcery Soap is the only inventor. I am the only inventor of all the stuff that you see. I do not affiliate myself with anybody else as far as like they don't share my work, or in the sense that I don't give my work to them to sell. Nobody else sells Sorcery Soap stuff but me. And so let's say you're going to buy one of my original reindeers, like this soap that I have offered on my website. And you go to their website and you try to buy it. Obviously, they're not going to be able to fulfill it because they don't have the bars. I only make 20, 40 bars of anything. So they're not going to be able to fulfill that. They don't have the original of this. They cannot make this or offer it to you. So you can go there. So then what's their motive? What do they want besides traffic, right? And it's not like I have a ton. I have like loyal people that come to me, but it's not like I'm a mega traffic person. I don't have tons of traffic. I have no ads on my website, none of that stuff. You could tell somebody who gets a lot of traffic because they have a lot of ads on their website, because that's one of the ways they make money, by clicking, and all their advertisers will pay them and all that. I don't do any of that stuff. I just want people who are interested in soap like me or unique products like me to have something that they were looking for. And I find them cool, and maybe you'll find them cool too. You know, everybody has different nose. So that's the way it is. Plus, you know, I'll do videos and stuff occasionally about fragrance reviews, because I think that's helpful. So that's what I try to do, is be helpful and inspire others. So if you go there, so what else are they going to do? You give them your credit card. They're probably going to steal your credit card. Seriously, like that's what they do. That's what they're doing. They're thieves. They stole every single one of my images. And no, I'm not going to tell you the website because they don't deserve any attention whatsoever. What I'm here to say is, if you read my post in our group, or if you read it on my Facebook page, know that I'm on top of it. Know that my guy used to work for a big brokerage firm and was in fraud. And know that I know what I need to do in order to keep you safe and to keep myself safe. So they might steal the images, but they can't take any of the products, nor can they take anything from my customers. All they can take is my name and be obvious thieves, and then take the unsuspecting people who don't know and take their credit cards. And then what will happen is somebody orders some soap that they think is really cool from them, and then they blame Sorcery Soap because we didn't fulfill the order, except that we didn't even know. So that's the end of that story. And this has been going on for a really long time. So I'm going to put this up in parts. So if you want to listen to it, then you can listen to it, and maybe let me know in the comments what you think, and let me know. I'll put a link in the description so you could go over and take a look at all the new stamps. And here's the other thing. I'm going to keep moving forward as fast and as hard as I can. Gotta have a little bit of heat. So I'm going to keep moving forward as fast as hard as I can, so they can copy, you know, my website from 3 months ago, but they're not going to have the newest stuff. They're never going to have any of my stuff, but they're definitely not going to have the newest thieved images stuff. So, and it is not a compliment when people steal from you, not even a little bit. So keep that in mind, and let's try to be the best versions of ourselves no matter what they throw at us. All right, have a great day. Thanks for watching. And that's all I know.